it's now 8:05. I'll call this meeting of the Municipal Building Committee for March 27th, 2024 to order. If there's any public forum, do you want to, we'll wait till we get a little further in for yours, Pat?
I'm ready.
Okay. Okay, we can,
okay.
Chief Purcell is here.
Thanks.
Go ahead, Chief.
So, good morning. So, full story, about 6-ish years ago, the town started looking at a regional dispatch plan for the town of Westborough. There were 3 studies that were done over the last 5 years that include a variety of towns, anywhere from, at its onset, Shrewsbury, Westborough, Hopkinton, Westborough, and 6 other communities, and most recently a project involving Westborough and Grafton. So Westborough and Grafton have assigned IMA to proceed with a project. Subsequent to that, we had a study done by the Collins Center at UMass Boston that was funded by State 911. They're in receipt of the report, as are we. And after that, we wrote a grant for almost $13 million to retrofit a building and update technology in the participating towns. We were awarded the first installment of that grant, and I've provided a letter for you here. The grant amount was for $4,695,500, broken down into 3 categories: $245,000 for an OPM, $488,000 for architectural services, and $3,962,500 for construction. That construction would be for the renovation of the building only. That doesn't include any of the technology for a dispatch center that goes into it. The second part of the grant, for almost $8 million, we're going to apply for in November and have for the following July 1st, which would be 2025. Our timeline, we figure it's going to take us that long to get to that point. So the site selection for the Regional Dispatch Center is 20 Phillip Street, also known as the Harvey Building, currently occupied by a license to 2 nonprofit organizations. They have been given notice that we intend to move forward with this project, and they'll be out of the building by September 1st. We did go do list a RFQ for our OPM. That went on BidNet. That process closed. We received 6 bids for the OPM. 1 was disqualified because they submitted a wrong project to us. They provided us all the documentation in their bid for a police station in another community. So we really only had 5. We evaluated those all, both police chiefs, both town managers, and both fire chiefs. And we have narrowed our search down to 3 OPMs. They are coming in on April 3rd, starting at 9 a.m. You have a list of those also, the 3 remaining companies that proposed OPM services. They're going to provide a presentation to us on that day. With the Regional Dispatch Center going into that location, the town of Westborough is going to retain ownership of that. The managers are going to work out a lease agreement with the dispatch district, so they will not be employees of the town of Westborough. They will not be employees of the town of Grafton. They actually, under Mass General Law 6A, form their own district. They'll have a board of directors, which is the 2 town managers right now. There'll be an operational oversight committee comprised of the 4 chiefs. And really what their involvement is to help develop policies and procedures and standardization so that the towns work the same and we don't expect the dispatchers to operate to know all of Westborough's rules, all of Grafton's rules. And we expect other communities to want to join that center as it starts to evolve. So what we're coming to you today and asking for is oversight and guidance with this project. This is not tax dollars by Westborough at all. We are the fiduciary only. If we come up short on money, we are allowed to petition back to State 911 for additional funding if we found something that is not anticipated. So we will never be seeking town of Westborough or town of Grafton dollars to my knowledge right now. I don't believe that would ever happen. And really, for your expertise in doing these projects and documentation purposes, really is why we're before you today, because we'd really like you to guide us through the project. And really, I think that this project does a lot of good for the taxpayers here in town, because the building is in need of update and repair, and we're really just looking forward to seeing the building completely gutted, evaluating the roof, like new windows, new heating system, electrical system, plumbing system, and really making it a state-of-the-art facility. At the end of the day, it's you know, the neighborhood has a lot of character, and we're respective of that. So as we proceed through our process and get into an architect, we're gonna really impress upon them the need that, our desire to just want to see that building continue to mold into that neighborhood and look like it actually belongs there, and not something sticks out like a sore thumb and disrupts the downtown. And in a nutshell, that's really the project. And if you have questions, you can ask Christie or I, and happy to
Chief,
answer.
with the money that the state gives, I'm kind of familiar with it from before with the dispatch centers, but is there continuing money after the initial, the build out of the building and the initial equipment purchases?
Yep, so not only do they provide the funding for the technology within that building, they provide the funding to either replace or bring up to date all the existing infrastructure, like our tower up on Fay Mountain, that is gonna get replaced. Whole new radio system in the town of Grafton. And really what it does is, so you're familiar with the state 911 funding. Right now they have four primary grants. They have a support incentive grant, they have a training grant, an emergency medical dispatch grant, and then this development grant. It actually unlocks another box of money for us too. So you saw me come before town meeting 4 years ago with the police chief and ask for $400,000 to replace all of our portable radios. That doesn't actually happen anymore. This is a capital funding source for us as well by going regional. So what happens is we reduce the amount of employees that we have. We reduce the amount of infrastructure that we have. It's placed upon the district. We were incentivized to go to this project. We actually get 5 years. I think the first 3 are no assessment, and then it's graduated back to 100% by year 6. And then the assessment is about what we predict to be about 1/3 of what we pay for dispatching services now. So overall, the community would see a savings in perpetuity. So yes, there's a lot of funding.
I
that goes to it.
can, from what I remember, this money it's endless, because a lot of the funding comes from, they can do a surcharge on everybody's cell phone every month. If you get your cell phone bill, there's a surcharge on there, and that's where a lot of this money comes from that they use for these projects.
It does a lot of, it extends beyond like radios. It also expands into our IT department. You know, we pay a lot of money for record management systems and computer automated dispatch and mobile data terminals. So it really kind of brings all of those things into that center. So today, if we break a portable radio, somebody has to share. We have to send it out for repairs. Yada yada. Now we go over there and take one off the shelf, and they give them that. We give them a portable radio back, and then they would be fixing it or replacing it for us. It's really a good program.
Earl?
I got a few questions. Aesthetically, will the footprint of the building stay the same?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me back that up. I believe so. I think there's going to have to be some accommodations to the exterior to bring it up to ADA compliance.
Oh, yeah,
It's a-
absolutely.
yeah.
It's a
Um,
full
next
gut
question.
job and
Will
parking
it-
also.
Will there be an antenna or a tower or anything there on the property?
So the answer is, I don't think so. I think with technology, we can microwave the link to that building off of the existing tower at the fire station.
Oh, okay.
So that's one of the benefits of using 20 Phillip Street, is all the infrastructure is already pulled right to the fire station. When we originally looked at Otis Street, we were gonna have to get all the fiber and everything pulled over there. Now, it's 3 buildings away, and we believe we can just microwave it right from our tower into the building.
And my next question, just the aesthetic thing, that it'll come up of the big trees that they have been there for many years that are pretty good shape. Do you have to take them down or not?
I don't know.
Okay.
Genuinely, I stared at them this week. I actually don't know. I don't know. I think it depends on parking, really.
Yeah.
Well, there
that's
is,
true.
out of those trees, they're not in very
I was
good
gonna say,
shape.
they're
Okay.
not in good shape, is what I heard.
There's one that really needs to come down. If you're
Okay.
looking at the building on the left, and the other one is getting close.
Peter, you have a question?
I did, but Earl had to
Okay.
steal my thunder.
Chief, you have two towns now, Grafton and Westborough. With going with Phillip Street, do you think the other towns will come back on board?
Yes. Yes.
You're hoping?
I don't know of the towns that we looked at, but I
Right.
think we will, there are people knocking on our door already.
Yeah, we've already had interest from.
And with the other towns coming in, will that increase the amount of money that will be available for this project?
Yes, and I believe it'll also reduce our assessment.
We weren't really sure, of like how this project, like where this project fit in terms of coming under the municipal building committee, but as we kind of, because it's like a regional and then so we're working really closely with Grafton, as Chief said, they're giving us their input into who the OPM is, and, we're all working together. But ultimately it came down to the fact that it's a town building and it's gonna remain a town building. So at some point, we'll get to like kind of the end of construction, but before they do all of the technology and bring on a director, who would also help with, that part of it, the fit up of that. But yeah, we thought this made sense, so hopefully the committee does.
The manager raises a very good point. So we're here before you for this project today. In the second phase of the grant, there will be funding in there to hire an executive director. And at that point, we will probably step back and let that person design their own, well, not design, but keep going with their own project. Not-
They can still come to the committee and.
Right. Now, you're involved, you've got 3 people you're interviewing for the OPM.
Yes.
So do you need us to be involved in that with you?
I don't think so. I think we're okay. We have a list in front of you. One of the bidders is in this room.
Okay. Okay, well, I don't think that's no conflict or anything.
I think we're okay going forward.
Okay, all right. So what do you need from us? Just a vote for us to accept the responsibility of
Sure.
overseeing?
This is where I compliment you. So coming before the committee for 3 projects, when obviously the fire department had involvement in all 3 because of life safety components, like this is what you guys do. So I actually need you to help me with this. Like the organization, when you have an OPM here and you're walking through a timeline and making sure we're crossing T's and dotting I's is like important. It's our building, long term. Hopefully we get it brought up to, 2025 codes as best we can, and I need you. So
Okay.
I'm happy that we're here today.
Well, I think if we can make a motion then, just for municipal building committee to join with the fire department,
I have a
oversee
que-
the. Go
I
ahead,
have a
Peter.
question. I guess I wasn't listening well enough. This won't fall under the town purview for any of us to be involved in that, the municipal committee. When that goes into remodeling, you'll have hired a project manager and an architect. And it won't come before like our committee. Is that your understanding?
No, I think I would like you to look at
I
those
would think
things.
the OPM, similar to what Peter did with all the projects, would come before us to do the reports, and then there's got to be a mechanism to pay the bills.
Well, that's the next question I have is, do we vote to pay a bill for a certain thing? If other towns are involved, they must want to have say.
Well, it's a good point. So they don't have, the other towns don't have any authority over how that grant money is spent, because only one town could be the fiduciary, and it's
That's all
Westborough.
it's Westborough. That's my concern. I'd rather have us
Yeah.
be in charge, not us, the town.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, so we'll certainly probably bring folks from Grafton here to, meet you, and we'll let them know what our thoughts are, but that's why we sort of struggled, like, is this an MVC thing, is it not? But because even when it sort of gets handed to the district under a lease, it's still our building. So I think where your role will be a little bit different is, I think you'll vote to recommend that bills are paid, and then I forget which one of us can sign off, probably you. And then, we'll pay the bill. But I think also where it's gonna be a little bit different is we'll rely probably more heavily on the executive director when we bring them on board, and the chiefs, in terms of like the setup of the technology, which I think you would do anyway. I mean, you probably did that with the fire station.
Yeah, and once the building's up and everything's done, I mean, that's, our involvement is done then. We just sign off and everything, and then
Yeah.
it's the town running it from there. So I think just during the initial phases of getting everything set up, with the OPM and then getting all the bids out and everything, I think that's something that we can do as the committee.
Well, and I'm fine with all of that. I just was curious.
Yep.
It seems like it was splitting. We have something that's here, but it's not ours, but it's kind of ours. And I know Pat's got 3 or 4 guys or chiefs, other chiefs. You mentioned something
Yeah,
about 4 chiefs.
both police chiefs.
Oh, 2 chiefs from each.
The
Okay, now I
Grafton
get it.
Police Chief, Westborough Police Chief.
That's right, I forgot. This is not
and
just fire. This
Opposing
is
fire.
Yeah,
police as
and
well.
fire, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And it works good for me. I mean, I know, I don't know the fire chief from Grafton, but I know the police chief and, our chief here. So, I mean, for me, it's, it make it easy in dealing with everybody too.
I think it's going to remain easy because they've been exceptional to work with, and
Yep.
we have the managers get along great, the fire chiefs get along great, and the police chiefs get along
Right.
great.
And this is just, it's a win-win for all the towns
Yeah.
involved.
Oh, I don't disagree. I just
Yeah.
know when certain things start happening, some people feel left out of the process. And
Yeah.
if we're here and voting and doing things and they're not,
Right.
even though I know we'll notify them and they'll get reports and all that, I just, I remember when we were asked to join the Algonquin Regional School District way back when I was a little kid. And, man, that was a knockdown fight, because this town thought that town would dominate the whole project. And I don't want that,
So
I don't
far,
want that to be out there, but it's gonna be out there, I'm sure.
We'll probably we'll let Grafton know what we did this morning, and then just maybe keep them on the list for the meeting so they can come.
Yep.
One of the the manager in Grafton used to work in another community that actually went through this whole process of setting up a regional dispatch center, so he has some good knowledge and experience to add to the process.
All right, do we have a motion to have the municipal building committee accept?
I'll
this
move
project?
that motion.
Peter, do we have a second?
I'll second
Hey, Jimmy, do we have any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
4 present? Unanimous.
thank you very much.
Okay, chief.
I appreciate you.
Thanks, Chief, all
appreciate
your hard work.
Yeah.
that
Good
you
morning.
put towards this.
When do you anticipate doing your interviews?
Next week.
Next week?
Yep.
What day, what time?
it. It's right here.
9:45, and
It's in the
10:30.
paperwork he gave us.
Oh, okay, it's in here already?
It's in your packet.
Yeah.
So in your packet, there is the RFQ, there is the schedule of our interviews, and there's also the award from State 911. And any other documentation that I get, I'll be sure to pass on to you
Where are you gonna do those interviews?
at the fire station.
Fire station? It's open to the public too?
No.
No?
No, I don't think so, not yet.
Would we be able to have anybody sit in on this?
That's your call.
I mean, if it's a
I'm
problem.
fine with it. I probably not everybody, but maybe we'll go.
Yeah, we
because
can't
it'll
have
be
a
public,
quorum,
But
but-
if
Yeah.
you want to, who has the chair?
Yeah, that's fine, okay.
Okay.
Al's got more knowledge about
That's true.
what's going
Yeah.
on. He
Okay.
he should be the one to be on
Great.
it.
I'd just like to hear what, what the 3 proponents, are looking, what they have to offer.
Sure.
Yeah, that'll be good. And then you can meet the folks from Grafton, because they'll be there too.
Yep,
Right.
okay.
Well, I look forward to that building being more utilized.
Oh,
Me
yeah.
too.
I went to first grade there. I think you might have been to first.
No, I didn't.
Well, you were in 5th grade on
I
the
went
next building.
Armstrong.
Oh, you were one of those.
You were a walker, I had to take a bus.
So just real quick, like the functionality of the building is obviously a priority to me, but I'm not overlooking the appearance. So
I
like
think that's
really
very
what I
important after
kind of,
listening to what we went through with the country club at town meeting the other day, how everybody's afraid that it's gonna look like a modern building as opposed to kind of that ugly thing we got now.
Please don't put a heat pump in.
That'll be nice though, that'll be real nice, and it's a great location for you.
Yeah.
I thought it was much better than, up at Hockomock, that, I mean, it was an option, but, for us, we've been around for a while, we know what's on that site. I've walked through there before.
It's such a grand old building, totally.
I loved it. Always loved it.
In the
Lot more
cellar,
space
it's
than you think.
beautiful.
Is it?
that first floor is very big,
Yeah.
5,100 square
And
feet.
the basements
wow.
are actually really nice too.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a neat building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know, just to give you a little bit more about the 2 organizations that use it, so it's the Community Chorus and the Troop 100. So I had a meeting with them a couple weeks ago. And so we're going to work with Troop 100 on relocating them. And then Community Chorus, while they're disappointed, obviously, they understand that we don't have storage space for their sets and costumes. But we did commit to trying to help them find a location, not a town building, but work. So if anyone has any ideas, I know Earl's always full of ideas.
Well, that's better than the other thing.
We did commit to helping them find it, and we also said that if they have to move out before we found them a location, that we would find some temporary storage, which I'm just telling Jim that right now. But,
Well, they've been
Thank you.
long-standing
Yeah,
in the town of
absolutely.
Westborough, let's
So-
face it.
Yeah, and they do good things for town.
Yeah.
They've done a great job for the town.
So
Yeah.
if you can think of any business or anybody that might want to host them, that would be great.
If we have an empty community, senior center.
Okay, just move on, review of, I don't think we have any minutes to approve.
Yes.
We do?
I'll move the
Okay.
minutes as printed.
Okay, Peter's, move the minutes. Do we have a second for that?
I'll second them.
Okay, is there any comment on the minutes? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Yes.
4 present, unanimous. All right, new business, I guess we're going to the golf club project that was voted on at the town meeting. I'm sure everybody's aware that it went through. We did get the $100,000 to hire a architect to do the feasibility study. But no, I think I'll probably just ask through Christie, what do we need to do next to get the proposal out there?
We can work with Shab. Shab,
Yeah.
I don't think this committee has worked with her before because she's
I have.
a newer, well, as a committee, because
Yeah.
she's a newer position. But we'll work with her to put together an RFQ. And then we can bring it to the committee maybe at your next meeting to review before we post it. So, yeah.
Well, I think it went well. I mean, there was only one person that really wanted to refer it back to us for whatever reason, but.
I think we heard loud and clear that, while we really want the golf club to come back, we don't want to pay for it.
Right.
And I think that's the message that has been sort of said all along. So that's our next sort of big project. I'll try to bring more information. I'm trying to learn more, bring more information about kind of how we might look at that at the same time that we're putting it out to
Now,
bid.
Shab can help us as far as putting the bid, up looking for the RFQ. But as far as drawing up the specifics of what we want the architect to do, I mean, is that incumbent on us to put it together?
I think we can just give you a draft and that will have everything in it, and then you can review it and respond to it and make changes. It's really similar to the process we're headed down with the community center, so I think we have some documents kind of ready that you can take a look at.
Right. I know some of the comments that were made, I mean, there were certain people, they wanted to save the building, and do all these repairs to it, just bring it up to something that you can move into and just live with, rather than something that is looking towards the future, which we need. I mean, it's obvious, through what the select board has made a decision on, they feel that it needs to be demolished and a new building put up. But I think as far as the feasibility, I do think we have to ask the architect to look at the possibility of doing the repairs. We need all options explained to us.
I think that's a good idea, just to be ready, even if it's not, as in-depth.
Don't spend too much time on it.
Right.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
our mandate is to tear it down, is the way I understand it.
Right.
Right, but,
I know town
Yeah.
meeting, there was some stuff floating around at town meeting, but
right. I just think, we've got, if we're gonna have an architect there, let's explore all options, so that when we do go to town meeting and we need the money, we can explain, look, it's gonna cost this much money to refurbish the house that's there, but it's gonna cost this much, and you'll have a much nicer building. And then, so I just think that we need to we cover all our bases, these are our options, and, explain to everybody, and, this is why we're asking for this amount of money. It's just, I think in reading the report, I don't know if you've seen the report,
Yeah.
but.
I started it this morning.
The building's in terrible shape. I don't think there's any way to salvage, to be honest with you, but that's beyond my expertise, but.
If you were turning that into a residential property, it's a whole different way to look at that building. But when you turn it into a business, their requirements, even through the building code, are much different than the residential one. And I'm assuming we have to look at the business model as opposed to the residential, which you can get by in residential with sloped floors. That's just a thing that happens in old houses. You're not gonna do it in a restaurant. You'll have old folks tripping all over the place.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm always in favor of saving old things. I wanted to save the old fire department and all that kind of stuff. But I don't think this building, if it's gonna be turned into a restaurant, can stand as it is. I've never done a walkthrough down cellar and up in the attic, but I mean, I know old buildings. I mean, that's my career for 54 years. But I think it's gotta go towards new. The question is, what's new? What do we think new? I think it should look like a similar colonial style building.
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
mean, there's a lot of feelings in town about,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't want the fire station look out here, you know?
Yeah.
Right. No, I agree with you, Peter.
So I just hate to be going in different directions trying to get an architect, because they ain't cheap when they're sitting there thinking, well, if you pull this out, Dad, you can come up with something.
Right.
I always felt that when it went through the last time the selectmen issued to us, it was a tear down. So
Right.
that's the premise I'm going under.
It is, but
we don't
again-
have the authority not to tear it down. We
Right.
were told to have.
Right, we've got our direction from the board, the select board, but again, just knowing what the feeling at the town meeting.
Right.
You want the easiest path, but you wanna make sure that you've covered all your bases, and that we have the answers to
That's
what
fine.
your question
And I'm okay with
potentially
that.
could be, right? Christie?
Yeah, I think another thing that we've heard, and I can't remember if it came up at town meeting, is this idea of selling the property. And Jennifer Miller, our conservation director, so in addition to the fact that there was a committee that looked at that a couple of years ago, or feels like a couple, maybe 8 years ago, that decided that we wanted to keep that as a community asset, Jennifer Miller did some research actually on how we acquired the property. And if we wanted to sell it, not that we do, it's actually really it would be very difficult based on how we obtained it. So maybe we invite her to come to the next meeting too, just so you can hear it from her, and then we can respond to that
I
question
think that
too.
was raised at the town meeting.
Yeah.
And because she or somebody mentioned, we would have to pay back a certain amount of money to the
Right.
federal government, I believe it
Yeah.
was, that funded part of that.
And you'd have to get like approval from,
Sign-offs.
Right, so it's very involved, and it wouldn't be like we'd be getting this windfall of money, because again, it's similar to what the state hospital property, you've got to split it with, government agencies.
Well, the other thing that was brought up, and I hadn't thought of it, was the leasing it for a longer period of time to some more established restaurateur.
But again, that's some of the options that, Chrissy's gonna
But I think that would probably
look
go
at
through
some
her.
point.
yeah.
In the selectmen.
But that would be one of the funding mechanisms, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we can look at that, but I definitely think we'll have to meet with Shab and have her come to the meeting, and she can explain to us what process we need to follow as far as putting the RFQ out and everything.
Okay, great.
I can remember when Bay State Abrasive came to town meeting and
Turned it
offered
down.
that to the town of Westborough for $1.
$1.
$1. You have the whole place. They weren't interested.
Yep.
Yep, they weren't interested.
All
At
right.
town meeting, I remember.
Town meeting turned it down.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, that was quite that was a heady night.
I won't mention the people's names that got up and spoke about it or didn't want, but whatever.
Okay. On new business also, being on the library building committee, we had a meeting yesterday, and we discussed the vote at the town meeting for the library. And one of the things that was mentioned, it was the library committee received an email from somebody. And one of the things that they were asking is if the town would look, the library committee would entertain moving the library out of this building when it's being renovated and possibly going into the new building down at Bay State Commons using part of the first floor. I told them I would bring this to the committee because, you know, again, we don't know what they're gonna do. They're trying to save some money, so, you know, they're trying to find a town building that they can go to, whether it could be the senior center down on
Rogers Road.
Rogers Road, down at Rogers Road, yeah, I drew a blank there. But the thing is, they're not gonna be out of there for a while, they're not gonna move into the new building till this is retrofitted.
Right.
So it could be a while, and that would just delay this project even more. So, again, that's just one of the things that they will look at, and I told them I would bring it to our committee to look at a possibility of them going in there, but again, as I explained to them, you know, it's very difficult for them to move in there while construction's going on. It's not conducive to what a library is supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I've been talking to Maureen about it. Obviously, that's the best scenario, is to put them in a space that we don't have to rent.
Right.
I think at the end of the summer, once we've done our community engagement stuff, we'll have a much better idea of what timelines might look like for both projects and see how it matches up. So it would be great if the library could locate on one of those buildings, but I just am not sure that the timing's gonna work, so we should have to.
And there's a lot of work that goes into it. I remember from when we moved the police station up to Computer Drive, there was a lot with the infrastructure, getting the wiring. We had to do fiber optics through that whole area to run all the computer systems and the phone systems and the radios and everything up there. So there was a lot involved, and it's not cheap.
No.
I mean, you know, between doing all that work and then getting the movers, we had Mark movers doing everything, and it was a lot.
It was very
So,
expensive.
Very, very expensive,
Yeah.
it definitely is, so, that's something that they're gonna have to look at, and like I said, I just told them I would report to the committee, that they're interested in it, but again, you know,
Makes good sense if you can make it work. you
Yeah,
know, it really does,
definitely.
you know.
It really does.
So they want to be able to have it open during their construction,
exactly.
wherever they end up.
They're gonna have to move out of their building because of the
Right.
extensive renovations that are gonna
Right.
take place, but again, they love to have something centrally located, you know, but, you know, there's limited space, obviously, downtown.
We just lost the Harvey building.
Yeah, so again.
In one vote.
You know, again, I just told them I would report to the committee, so, you know, we are aware of it.
Yeah.
And it's something we can look at further when, you know, we get involved with the building down there.
It just seems like both of the projects are kind of right on the same keel right now, so, you know, if they were to move into that building, it could cause delays in the senior center, you know, getting retrofitted and what's gonna happen down at that spot, so it's something we'll have to look at.
Do you know how long they anticipate being displaced?
I'm thinking it was upwards to a year and a half, I think.
Yeah, that's what I assumed, so,
It's always longer.
yeah, yes.
And we really,
We
I mean,
know that.
I really don't wanna see them delay doing the retrofit down there
No.
for the seniors.
No.
We got pretty creative when we left town hall, in terms of where we kind of stuck everybody. I know that's not as easy with the library,
We're
but
not gonna put the library at the DPW.
there's some available space.
No,
But we'll have to think about it.
yeah, you're right, Christie. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, when you got a small office, you know, like like the recreation, it was very easy to find them a spot. You know,
Yeah.
you
Right.
have people down at Central One Federal Credit Union, you know, using the space down there, but the library's gonna take up a lot of room. They got a lot of
Yeah.
books and everything that's in there that's gonna have to be moved out.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to, I know in Grafton, when they moved out, they like set up their public space in an empty church. So I wonder if they had like a separate location for where they put a lot of stuff in storage. Like I don't, I mean, Maureen would know all of that better than me, but it'd be interesting to know what they think, the footprint of their like sort of public space would need to be, because I guess what I'm saying is in Grafton, it was definitely smaller than what their library is, so would help us to get creative.
So to move this, just as a follow-on, to move the senior center to this new, what do we call that?
Community.
community center,
center.
the new
Was it the
community,
Christie Williams? No.
Yeah, the Christie Williams, community.
the new community center. I thought some of the building, and I don't know for which departments that were gonna use it, didn't need a lot of work. I know they need a kitchen for the senior
Recreation
center.
department.
So
Yeah.
they're gonna be able to move in without a,
We're gonna move them in, but we don't know if we'll have to move them out for a period of time.
well, I was just thinking if they, instead of moving them in, can the library use the space that they would have used? Because what all, I don't know what kind of space they're even gonna need. I mean, I don't have any,
But they're gonna start running programs
Yeah.
down there, that's the thing, they're gonna go in it, and they're gonna use it, you know, classrooms and make classrooms and have different things down there, so if they're not there, then.
yeah, but they don't have them right now, is
is
what I'm saying. They don't have that right now.
No, but they
This would
they
be-
got
that
roller
would push-
skates on to get down there.
Well, we don't know if, we don't know, so in the upstairs of the the downstairs of the community center needs a full fit up because it's just a blank canvas. It's just a one big room. And the upstairs has, on the perimeter of the upstairs, there's like a gym and the pool and some good, I think, like multi-purpose rooms, but there's a huge open space in the middle. And so we don't know what that will be. So if there's a lot of work to be done, we don't know if people could, if anyone could be in that building during construction.
I think it'd be a good idea if we all got together down there, and because I don't think, I don't know
mean,
if
there's
you've
no
been through
reason
there,
we-
but why we should go in.
We can't go down there together and tour it, I mean,
Oh,
we're
yeah,
not
that's
having a
right.
meeting, right?
Well, we could make it as part of our meeting.
Well,
We could just-
yeah,
Oh,
so,
okay, yeah.
so we have not, we've been discouraging posting meetings there because I think we're not ready for the public to get in there yet because we're trying to do some things.
Yeah.
But if you, if you kind of wanted to go a couple people on at different times, or if you just want
Well,
to
you could
wait.
I think, excuse me, I didn't mean to jump.
No, it's okay.
You're right, Al, we could post a meeting, and at the end of a meeting here, we could go down there
Right,
and
but the thing
continue
is,
the
if we
meeting.
post it, we have to open it up to
That's
the
right,
public
to the
also.
public.
Oh,
Yeah.
we don't normally have, I don't know how many people actually read the postings.
Right. I think we have a lot of following on Westborough Cable
I
TV though.
know.
Well, we haven't been on for a long time.
So.
But yeah,
I'm
we
just
should,
saying,
we
if-
should
if we
figure
go
that
down
out
there-
and the golf club. Like you
And-
should tour that building too.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's it on those. Old business, do we have anything on the Forbes building closeout? Nothing?
Not right now.
So that'll just stay open for the time being then.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody have anything else they want to discuss? Peter, nothing? But I want to thank you. I utilize your name, I'm sure, at the town meeting. I don't know how much weight it
Should've
carried,
heard the
but
booze.
at least it gave some validity to the amount that we were asking for. Nobody really questioned the amount or anything, but, having your expertise and your recommending that amount, I think, got us
You can get by with that.
through. Yeah, I hope
Do
so.
what you have to do to get to the point of, quote, a feasibility study. Should reach that objective, as you mentioned. Bring forth some options about what to do. Renovate, add, renovate, remove, and replace. Different options as you described. That's part of the whole feasibility study. What's the purpose, what's the goals, what's the objectives? How do we get there? Do some small conceptual drawings and some renderings. And you can do that for the amount of money that's been funded.
This may be off the wall, but we have two projects that are gonna go on at basically the same time, I think. Country Club and remodel down here. Will we operate with the same OPM and possibly the same architect, or are we gonna have the possibility of
It
different
depends,
setups?
because we have to put
That's
it
how
out for
sharp their
bid.
pencil is when they.
Right.
Well, I'm just saying, we
respond to
did
the
that with
RFQ.
the town hall and.
Right.
It was before me, but the town hall and the fire department, the same OPM, and I
Right.
believe that's right. Were you on board with
And
that?
the high school renovation.
It was,
Well, that was,
Yeah, well,
that,
I'm just saying.
that was, I'm just saying, do we go, when we pick the OPM for the one or the other, do we try and combine them for both, and
I
does
think
that help us?
they're totally separate projects, so
No, they are.
we have to put them out to bid in that way, and then, I mean, it could be the same, it could be different.
Well, I just don't know how we did the fire station and the town hall.
I
with the
don't,
same-
I wasn't involved then.
And
I don't know
and at
either.
the same time, we
Pete might
did the
know.
Forbes building.
It was advertised.
Each
as-
individual?
As one.
Oh,
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
Because there was
So-
one funding, what I recall from the previous administration, there was one funding apparatus for fire station, town hall, and the Forbes. And they were all three, because we had the same architect as well. So when the
Wait,
building committee solicited services, OPMs and designers, the advertisement was for all three projects. And quite frankly, it was a rec center at the same time, but that's old news.
Well, all I'm getting at is, would it serve us better as a committee not to have to deal with two, if, say it went to two different architects, two different OPMs, and we're meeting at two different times, we could combine like we did with the fire station and the town hall with the same people who are there, so we can ask questions back and, I don't know, I just,
Christie?
we already advertised for the OPM for the community center. It doesn't necessarily have to, it's the OPM that's gonna help us through the public engagement process. It's not necessarily for the whole project. So there's still a possibility. I think with architects though, they're two really different types of projects. So I think we would want somebody who has experience with like rec center, senior center, and then restaurant is, so, I don't know, that's kind of.
I know it'll make a little bit more work for us. I mean, it would be nice to have one person you deal with, but again, you know, because, I mean, we're gonna need some expertise. And, you know, if we got somebody that has a firm that has people that can deal with all different types, that's fine, but we gotta make sure that, you know, we have somebody that knows what they're doing.
I just think the process becomes a little more streamlined if the same people were dealing with both projects. I don't know, it just, I was thinking of that, and I would prefer to go that route, but if we can't go that route, I'm.
Right. I think, you know, again, we'll have to use Shab, find out from her, you know, what her opinion on that is too.
Yeah, I mean, so we're gonna select an OPM for the community, because when we talked before, we talked about how the community center, like what it's gonna look like and what's gonna be in it, kind of needs to get figured out by the select board and then given to this committee. So for that whole process, we're going to hire an OPM and an architect. But it's for that process. It's not.
So is that specific for that, and then that will end what they're,
There's an option to extend if we want
Okay.
to, but there's a possibility that we wouldn't. So it doesn't make it so that you can't do what you're suggesting.
right. And that's similar to us, what we're doing with, you know, looking for an architect to do the work up here in the country club, but that's for the feasibility study. It doesn't mean we're gonna use them any further beyond submitting that
Right.
information to us. Okay. Is there anything further? Okay, I guess we have to just pick out our next meeting date.
It did come up at town meeting also, I think, and we talked about it at the last meeting, doing like an open house at the country club at some point. So I know we talked about doing it when the weather's a little bit warmer,
Right.
but just keeping that on our radar, because I know Ian's very interested in it, even though he's not here, but.
And that's really just to bring people in so they can see the actual condition of the building, the way
Yeah.
it sits.
Yeah.
Do we want to go, you know, we got April vacation, which is the week of the 15th, so that's out. Let's see. Do we want to go to like April 10th, maybe? I mean, that's a couple weeks. At least that we might have some more information by then. Is that available for everybody?
I don't see any obstruction on my calendar.
All mine.
So I guess we'll do, the next meeting will be April 10th. Does 8 o'clock work for everybody, or?
That works for her.
I love it.
Okay. Okay. All right, so that'll be it. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Would that
Is
be a
gonna
meeting here?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
April 10th.
Yep,
I move that we have a next meeting on April 10th,
okay.
here.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor, comments? No? All in favor, four present?
Yes.
Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Jim, second? Discussion? None? All in favor? Four unanimous.